G'day guys, it's William here from Rosebud Mowers and Chainsaws and mowermerch.com.au, here with another educational video for you guys. So we did a video last week on setting up a push mower for the upcoming grass cutting season, and it was quite popular. So we thought we'd do one on the rest of the products that we sell in the handheld range, and basically educate you guys on some good decisions that can be made to make your businesses more profitable with less downtime with broken equipment. There's going to be a huge division in the industry, you know, what brand is best, you know, Bush Ranger, Stihl, Husqvarna, Shindauer, Echo, etc. We're a Husqvarna dealer. We have been pretty much a sole Husqvarna dealer as far as handheld products go for the last couple of years. We made that decision based on a few different things. The first one being that we just found it to be the easiest sort of platform for us in the shop to stock one brand versus multiple, but also we chose it for other reasons, for parts supply, cost of parts, repairability, product support, and also the contracted discounts that Husqvarna give the dealer network as well, and that we can pass on to you guys, the contractors. So we'll go through a couple of different items, starting with the two-stroke equipment, moving down to battery gear. And we'll talk about pros and cons of different brands and models and etc. All right guys, so we'll start off with leaf blowers. It's probably one of our more difficult items to sell in the store because everybody wants something as powerful as possible but also light, which doesn't always go hand in hand. I've honestly come to the conclusion that the handheld blowers have just been replaced with a battery blower. Because my sales tactic now with leaf blowers is that if you want something powerful, you're always best to go with a backpack blower, because it's going to get the job done infinitely quicker. It's going to have all the power you need, and weight's not really such an issue because it's on your back. I find that any brand of handheld professional blower is quite heavy, and the wrist fatigue is a lot more than what I would say is acceptable. Husqvarna does make a really awesome 525BX. I do find that, honestly, I would love a bit more power, but again, you're more power, bigger engine, more weight. I do like the Husqvarna though, because it has got a lot of anti-vib built into it, and I do find the vibration levels is far lower than most other handheld leaf blowers that I have tried. And then obviously you've got the two domestic models, the 125B and the 125BV. Their main difference between those two blowers is one's a blower vac, so you're going to be able to convert it into a sucking device to suck up your leaves and whatnot as well. As far as they go, awesome little option if you're just blowing around the home. I've actually got one out the back for the workshop. Professional guys, stick with the 525BX for your handheld or a battery equivalent. And then honestly, I feel like that everybody should have a backpack blower. I have sold a bunch of different brands of backpack blowers over the years. There are more powerful versions in other brands in this blower. So you might ask, why do I not sell it? Well, the biggest reason why I don't sell, in particular, Echo anymore, even though I freaking love that blower. The PB8010, I think it's called, man, that is a bloody powerhouse blower. And I wish, honestly, that they would get their parts supply sorted out. I sold a bunch of them, you know, a couple of years ago because I thought they were the bee's knees, and I still do. And honestly, parts have been nothing but a pain in the ass to get. I waited 6 months for a carburetor. I'm still waiting. It's 8 months now for an elbow for one of them. I just feel like that I can't myself support a brand that doesn't support the consumers with parts. And unfortunately for me, that outweighs all the other positives. However, the Husqvarna is definitely a very close second behind the 8010, and as far as reliability and power goes, it's got the top mount air filtration system. It's probably the best thing about the Echo and the Husqvarna over Stihl, having that top mount air filter and keeping the engine from being dusted. I don't know why Stihl hasn't gone to a top mount air filter or a larger style air filtration system yet, but that is the bee's knees, especially for guys looking for backpack blowers. Go for something with a huge dual element air filter, because it's dusty work having a leaf blower. Part supply for the 580 BTS is pretty easy. Not really much goes wrong with them. I usually stock a carburetor, starter, assembly. I stock the couplings, the rotation coupling here for the handle. They do wear out from time to time. You can duct tape them up if you need to. Otherwise, yeah, we stock these couplings. Throttle cables, that's about it. and air filters, spark plugs, etc. Really reliable unit. If anybody's in my area, I've got multiple demo units of them as well. Okay, that's pretty much it for leaf blowers. Definitely go for a backpack blower. Anybody, any of your contractors, even if you're at home, honestly, backpack blowers are a game changer. And we're back. Are we back? Yes. Okay, so Hedge trim is up next. Again, we're going to talk about all the two-stroke product first before we move on to battery. In the two-stroke world, I stock pretty much all of the Husqvarnas, anywhere from the little domestic 12245 up to the 522. I really like the Husqvarna hedge trimmers. They route the exhaust in a way that it doesn't blast you in the face, causing some fume intoxication. They're a really smooth running engine. They're really quiet, and especially in the pro models, the tooth size on the blade is freaking massive, and you get heaps of life and heaps of sharpens out of them. I also find that the blades are really cost effective to replace too. The two models that I would sell in the ProScape world is the 322 and the 522. 322 is a little bit lighter than the 522. It's going to definitely save you a little bit of wrist fatigue. What you'll notice is every model from the 122 HD60 up to the 522 also has a rotating hand grip on it as well to stop that wrist fatigue when you're hedging. So definitely can't go past them. Really smooth running engine. As far as issues that we see with them, not a lot. Might replace a coil every now and then on the larger models, especially during summer when they get a bit hot. I could say the same about every brand, but again, very minimal issues as long as you make sure you clean your blades and lubricate them and keep them sharp and grease the gearboxes. Hedge trimmers are pretty foolproof as far as two-stroke hedges go. The other one that we have here as well, I usually do a few little things different to other stores. I usually make long reach hedge trimmers up for guys. I'm not a huge fan of multi-tools. In any platform, I've spoken about this before. I prefer something with a straight shaft. So you can buy this setup directly from Husqvarna. It comes already made up like this. I just find that they're not the most cost-effective thing in the world to buy. And for the past few years, what I've been doing is getting a 525 LST, taking off the gearbox. Let me put that on silent. Taking off the gearbox and chucking on a hedge trimmer head on them as well. And results are amazing. They're exactly the same as the ones that we can get from factory, but they're going to save you like $300. So cool little hack as well. And you can do this with any of the multi-tools. Regardless if it, or any of the straight shaft snippers, regardless if it's Bush Ranger, Still, Husqvarna, Honda, whatever, you don't have to buy a multi-tool. If you want to build a fixed length tool like an edger, you can just buy a straight shaft snipper, take the gearbox off the end, take the extension off your attachment and bang it straight on. And I find the less points of connection, the less wear on your shafts and your clutches and vibration issues, bushings, etc., etc., etc. So really cool little hack for you guys out there. Alrighty, so next up in the two-stroke world would be brush cutters and whipper snippers. We'll group sort of the bullhorn handle ones and the loop style or D-handle snippers together because a lot of them actually use very similar sized or exactly the same size engines. Starting from the big boy, the 545 RXT, man, that thing's a freaking monster. It's Husqvarna's auto-tune brush cutter. It's one step down from their largest model, which is the clearing saw. These things are, if you're doing heaps of blackberry, bracken, sort of large brush cutting and you're on it all day, every day, and you just need that power, that thing is phenomenal. Being auto-tune, it just runs mint. It's constantly calculating and retuning that carby for optimum performance. You can also get a slashing kit put on it for that heavy weed work. And I tell you what, I can't speak highly enough about how much power that they have. They're a great unit, definitely. If you're doing a lot of brush cutting work, phenomenal. The 535 RXT, again, is the bullhorn version of the 535 LK, which is Husqvarna's multi-tool, same engine. Really good engine, tons of power. Love the brush cutter. The multi-tool, if you are after that extra bit of power in your D handle, then don't go past the 535 because they're phenomenal. They've got tons of power, awesome filtration system on them, really reliable. It's probably one of our most reliable two-stroke engines throughout the market. and have that 35cc engine in it for heaps of power. And also can come in a multi-tool as well. For those guys who don't want a multi-tool in their 535, what we basically do, we can do an exchange program where we put a straight shaft configuration on for you as well. We actually do that at no extra charge here at my shop. Hit your local dealer up, they might do the same. I keep the straight shafts in stock so I can just convert them straight over for you guys if you ever want and you don't want that multi-tool coupling on there. The 525 RST bullhorn is exactly the same as the fan favorite 525 LST. Every contractor loves the 525 LST. They're a phenomenal snipper. They are probably, I would say, the best power to weight ratio in the market. They're incredibly light, which is awesome. 25cc. They've got tons of power. I would probably say at the moment, if any contractors are missing their Shindao T260s, which was a fan favorite for years. It still is my favorite brush cutter of all time. Obviously we can't get them anymore. This is probably the closest that I've found to that particular unit in the way it revs and runs and the power. Not as much power as a T260, but nothing is with that class, but it does get as close. They've got the high ratio gearbox on the LST model, which is going to transfer that power from that engine down to the ground incredibly well. Speed feeds bolt straight up to these units. They also come with the metal bash plates on the bottom. Parts and repairability for Husqvarna is second to none. I find probably it's probably the best brand in the Australian market for cost availability of repair. Basically what I mean by that is that we're not spending hundreds of dollars on spare parts. Things like throttle cables, really affordable, 20 bucks, versus competitors, 60 bucks. Things like clutches, half the price of all the others. It doesn't mean they're half as good, it just means that they've basically committed to the industry to make their products more repairable instead of that obsolescence or that planned obsolescence that our industry is going down now, where brands are costing their parts so high, not because they're trying to make money, but because they're trying to make the products obsolete and trying to get you guys to upgrade constantly. Now, I have also said on that note that for reliability and power and cost effectiveness on repair, that 2-year mark is also the mark with all brands that you should start looking at purchasing that new unit and then running the old unit as your backup as well. Around that 2-year mark, I find any brand, no matter what, sort of starts to cost you money or reliability or power. But definitely the Husqvarna, as far as keeping within that 2-year cycle, 3-year cycle max, the clutches, the shafts, the throttle cables, the starter repairs, they're all super cost effective and definitely the most cost effective out of any brand that I've dealt with. I really like the 525 LST. They have got that anti-vibe handle that Husqvarna is known for throughout their blowers and their brush cutters, to keep that wrist fatigue down, that vibration down. They also come in a multi-tool, which is a 525 RJD. It has got the lower ratio gearbox on it, so not the high ratio that the LST has. So it will not translate the power as well as the LST, but has the added benefit of a multi-tool if you're that way inclined. The last one in the Husqvarna professional range is the 522L. It's pretty much on the same platform as the 525, just doesn't come with the metal bash plate, slightly smaller engine, and doesn't have the high ratio gearbox either. Mate, if you're just after a backup snippet, nothing wrong with them. Not as much power, but super good. Domestic. Try and stay away from it if you're a contractor. Homeowner, can't go past the 325L. They're actually a really overpowered snipper for the domestic market. They're quite good. That engine platform is throughout the multi-tool and also the bench shaft unit that Husqvarna offer too. That's pretty much it for all the Husqvarna two-stroke products, bar chainsaws, obviously. If you've got any questions or you're still not sure what to buy, hit me up because I'm always available. We're going to move on to battery gear next, which is going to be like a part 2 because I think this video is getting a little bit longer. I'll see you next time. Chicka chicka boom, chicka 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 boom. Good?